Hi, my name is Rhoda, and I will be talking to you about my educational journey, which is a lengthy one indeed. The concepts I learned and principles of interdisciplinary learning and teaching, and how I can apply those concepts in my career as a math teacher, will be a work in progress. First of all, I will start by saying that I initially studied accounting at UTSA approximately 2 decades ago and received a Bachelor of Business Administration degree with a concentration in accounting. After working in accounting, I realized that I wanted a career where I could help people because I wasn't doing that in accounting. Since I loved numbers and solving problems, I was driven to further my education, and so I attended the post baccalaureate teacher certification program in secondary math at UTSA. This program further strengthened my math skills and surprisingly taught me different ways of learning and teaching math. It was a surprise to me that I learned different ways of teaching and learning, whereas I attended primary and secondary schools when they were strictly traditional based. When I finished the program, I became certified to teach math grades 7 through 12. Now I am left in choosing between two careers. Clearly, I would choose the one where I believe I can convey the teaching and learning tools I have acquired throughout my teaching journey. Of course, I was torn between two careers. I looked at the benefits versus the cost of going for a Master of Accountancy or a Master of Arts in Curriculum and Instruction. I decided that pursuing a Master of Arts with a concentration in curriculum and instruction would open more doors for me. It will allow me to acknowledge that students have different learning styles, and I must adjust my instructional strategies by applying different learning theories. I will also be able to integrate each theme of interdisciplinary learning and teaching into my practice and into my educational path towards a master's degree. It will be useful because it will allow me to think in terms of social justice as a guide to contribute to teaching in order to address the diversity of the student population. In the master's program, this will be beneficial because each theme is interrelated and will help me understand and gain knowledge of its applications as I continue with the program. What I have learned is that the social political nature of education is astonishing to me, especially the history of education and the achievement gap. I was completely perplexed by the fact that I had simply overlooked the struggles diverse cultural groups had experienced in schools in the past. Perhaps this historical piece, as Golden highlights in the article, will be a reminder regarding the kind of teacher I should not be. Without a doubt, schools are obligated to educate our children to lead the world. In doing so, the achievement gap, as Lance and Billings termed the education debt, is something to be concerned about since there are several factors that are influential in creating this gap. I believe that we need to look forward. We need to focus on what teachers can do to eliminate or narrow the achievement gap altogether. For instance, why not look at all students of different races and cultures as high achievers and place these inadequate beliefs of students when it comes to their social economic status behind us? As Ferreira claims, we should allow children the independence to work on their own and have the teacher stand as a facilitator in order to avoid treating the child as receiver of information only. It definitely starts with the teachers, and I believe this would be a good starting point in order to create a curriculum that will engage the students in challenging work regardless of their social economic status. The key aspects of foundational theories in interdisciplinary learning and teaching were behaviorism, cognitivism, social constructivism, situated learning, constructionism, and andragogy. In teaching, I tend to follow the traditional approach because of high stakes testing, and unfortunately, there's never enough time to plan engaging lessons. We need to ensure that students are going to pass the test, so that remains a priority. I have been applying the behavioral approach in teaching and learning math, but I would prefer to incorporate behaviorism, cognitivism, and social constructivism all together. These are attainable long-term goals, and I can meet them if I have the support. I should have the power as a teacher to advocate for students' learning in order to promote the best education possible to get them ready for the world. In Skinner's behaviorist theory, it is concerned with behavior that can easily be seen. Piaget's learning theory of cognitivism states that there are 4 stages of development that occur first, then learning occurs next. As a child develops, they learn in different stages. And by Godsky's social constructivism theory, learning happens as a result of your interactions with the world. The last three foundational theories I learned were situated learning, constructionism, and andragogy. In situated learning, LaVey and Wenger explained that learning takes place in a community of practice where learning is active and collaborative. Also, in constructionism, Papert and Harrell emphasize that learning is student-centered and it involves creating something with your hands or learning by making. On the other hand, Knowles notes that andragogy is a theory that refers to the teaching of adults, and it entails four assumptions that lead us to understand how adults proceed in their learning. Teaching adults is totally different than teaching children. In their readings by Nisani and Moran, interdisciplinarity is important because it opens the doors to creativity and collaboration. This class has further reinforced how significant interdisciplinarity is in today's schools. For instance, it gives us a chance to work as collaborators with other teachers in other disciplines when planning lessons that are engaging and helps students further develop their understanding and purpose of the connections that they will build in their education. As a math teacher, I will show how math, science, history, English, and technology, to name a few, can come together to solve problems. I will show them that math is not in a box by itself. Math can be built around other subjects to create connections that make sense. For key theories that are manifested in diverse educational contexts, special education is one of those areas that needs special attention because of the diversity that exists. According to Harrower, both social and academic development is fundamental, and that is why inclusion is important. We cannot look at learners as standard-sized learners, so we must adjust our teaching and our classrooms to fit different needs of learners. In applying some of the theories, I will certainly pick from among several to guide me in supporting the diverse needs of students. I am most interested in using behaviorism, cognitivism, and social constructivism, and using Skinner's behaviorist approach in teaching middle or high school math. I would certainly find it useful when I'm expecting to see a certain kind of behavior. First of all, this would allow me to set the tone for the class, that all students will respect me as their teacher and also respect each other. This will enable the classroom to become a productive learning environment. By the same token, I will use positive reinforcement as a way to get participation to grow. Equally important, I would then apply Piaget's learning theory of cognitivism, in which I can then plan the lessons accordingly to further expand their knowledge and facilitate their learning. Most of all, I will enjoy applying Vygotsky's social constructivism theory, since learning happens as a result of your interactions with the world. It will be useful for applications, collaborations, projects, and discovery learning to further enhance their development and actively engage the student to become active in their pursuit of learning. These three theories I have found will be very useful when I'm creating math lessons, especially with a STAR tested subject. All things considered, I will ultimately devise an action plan for my existing career. I'm currently a certified math teacher in grades 7 through 12, so I will be using what I learned in this class in my practice as I continue the master's program. I believe that the true test of understanding and making sense of the themes comes from integrating these themes into a real-world context. In doing so, I will incorporate behaviorism, cognitivism, and social constructivism into planning my classroom because it will help create a learning environment where students are engaged, intrigued, and constructing their own learning. This will correspond to success, since in this case I expect to see my students fully understand, fully capable, and active in learning. Students will above all take learning into their own hands by being leaders in their learning, as well as being leaders alongside their classmates. In spite of the barriers that hinder our plans in education, I will aim to be sensitive to student needs and consider that there are increasingly diverse cultures. In order for my teaching to be highly effective, I will also include other disciplines in the teaching of mathematics, with it being imperative that I follow TEKS, and with time constraints on the line, I can still manage to include an aspect of another discipline without derailing from the TEKS. This is a work in progress, but I will ultimately find a common ground to have a long-lasting impact in providing a high-quality education at all levels and within attainable levels, because I believe all children are very capable learners, regardless of their race, ethnicity, gender, or social class.